Welcome to Broncos Weekend, presented by Ent Credit Union, the official banking partner of the Denver Broncos.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Broncos Weekend. I am your host and Denver Broncos team reporter, Elisa Hernandez. And in the studio, we have Hall of Famer Steve Atwater and former Bronco and ESPN analyst Orlando Franklin. Week 9, and the Broncos have won 5 of the last 6 games. How are we feeling after Sunday's win?
I think we're feeling pretty good. Now, we know that the team was a little banged up, but hey, that's how it comes. You know, sometimes the opponent's going to be healthy and sometimes they're going to be banged up. They were a little banged up, but we got to take these victories however we can get them.
I feel great because it's a culture that's being built right now. You know, I really think that you watch Bo Nix, you see the development, right? I think the 2 touchdown passes, you know, we got the Denver Broncos should be the tight end, National Tight End Day, right? I mean, they came out there, they showed out. Bo Nix knew that it was National Tight End Day, but those 2 passes, you could see the development. You could see that, man, the timing and the accuracy. So I feel really great, and I feel good about the team football that we're seeing as well. And I think the offense is playing really well off the defense.
With midpoint of the season, the Broncos are 5-3 heading into a tough road trip. The Broncos go on the road to face the Baltimore Ravens in Week 9 and then the Kansas City Chiefs in Week 10. A lot can be said, as you said, about the improvement of the team and after starting the season 0-2. When you look at the development of Bo Nix in particular, the game that he just had 4 touchdowns in that performance, career highs really across the board. What have you been most impressed with him?
His poise. You know, when you look at the quarterback position, it's so much is about communication, recognition, and being poised. I think Bo Nix has showed development in all 3 categories, but he is relying on the 10 guys that are around him. He's trusting those guys as well, and he's leading this football team. You know, you don't expect a rookie to come here. This is a hard fan base to come in and say, hey, I'm the guy, and I got to go out there week in and week out and perform. I'm just happy that Sean Payton's here and happy that he took Bo Nix because the Broncos have figured out the quarterback position for the next decade and a half, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I'm impressed with his execution. That shows that he's spent a lot of time in that playbook, doing homework and film room, doing it all. And he's able to go out and execute. And when guys run open, he can run the ball. And he's very good at that. I haven't really seen anything that he's bad at. And that's a good feeling for an NFL quarterback, especially a rookie NFL quarterback.
Bo Nix has had an impressive October, including ranking first amongst rookies this year in pass TDs, pass yards, rushing TDs, and wins. After practice, he talked about going up against Ravens QB Lamar Jackson for the first time.
He's, well known for his explosive runs, but he's a full qualified quarterback in the pocket, and he does some really good things with his arm. I think he's underrated when it comes to throwing the ball, but it's going to be fun seeing him. I've never met him. It's going to be fun being around him, watching him in person for, I guess, the second time. I watched him play Clemson when I was in high school. I went and watched the Clemson game, and he was electric in that one too.
The Broncos recorded their 8th straight game holding an opponent to less than 350 yards, the longest streak since 2003. And on Sunday, the defense recorded 2 interceptions, 2 sacks, and 6 tackles for loss. You look at this Ravens offense, how do you even begin to try to contain Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson?
Well, it's going to take a team effort. You know, it's not going to be one guy that's going to stand out. It may be one guy that stands out. Hopefully, we'll have many more than that, though, because, with Derrick Henry, it's going to take some team tackling. You many times won't be able to get him down with one person. And with Lamar Jackson, we know how dynamic he is, how if he is able to scramble, it's going to be a problem. So we got to make sure that we can keep him in the pocket and then not let him scramble up. But he likes scrambling in between. He doesn't like getting outside anyway. He likes going right up into the holes anyway, into the gaps, and he's very dynamic.
Oh, you called game on Nick Bonito.
Yeah.
He did?
Yeah, I did. But I think that, to call game this week, it's Vance Joseph. Right, he's got to be elite in how he calls this defense this week. We know that this defense is going to give effort. We've seen it, right? We know that this defense is going to go out there and trust the guy that's on either side of them. We see it each and every week. But I think it's a money game this week, and I think it's a money game for Vance Joseph. You want to be a head coach again? Go take care of business against this offense.
Yeah. Right?
I mean, so if you're able to slow this offense down with all the weapons that they have, I think that it's a collective effort, but the onus is on Vance Joseph and how you call it. Steve talks about it. Lamar is at his best when he escapes vertically, right? When he's able to, step through the line of scrimmage. Well, who's going to be there to be that spy, to make sure that instead of that home run, it's only a 1 or 2 yard gain, or maybe a TFL or a sack, another sack in that column. So I think a lot of guys have to step up, but I think it's really on Vance Joseph this week.
Well, Nick Bonito has 6 sacks in 6 games. He even counted them out for the fans at Empire Field at Mile High. Now, another asset on the defensive line is defensive end Zach Allen, who has also been impressive this season. After practice, I caught up with him about how the defense is preparing for yet another tough test. This defense ranks 3rd in scoring defense going against the AFC's top offense. How do you prepare for that matchup?
Yeah, I think it's, definitely, they got, talent at every single position on offense, so it's going to take a lot for us. And, if we're, disciplined on every play and do our job, we'll be in a good spot. So it's just making sure that we're on point every time. And guys are doing a good job getting prepared for that, trying to, see every look. So we're excited.
You guys have been pretty efficient in stopping the run. How do you guys look to attack Derrick Henry, who has had a touchdown in each of the last 8 games?
Yeah, I mean, it all goes through, Lamar and Derrick, and, they're both, Hall of Fame type players. So it's going to, be a big challenge for us. But, it's one that we're really excited for. And kind of like I said before, if everyone does their job, all 11, we'll be gapped out and we'll be good. So just do that and make sure we tackle well.
There seems to be a mantra of starting strong but finishing even stronger. What do you guys look to improve on from that Week 8 performance?
Yeah, I think, last week or the first drive and the last drive were not our best. And, we definitely, if we want to go where we want to go, we got to clean those up. And, that's something we're definitely talking about, is starting off faster, because, the first 15 is always going to be a little bit of stuff we haven't seen yet. But if we can kind of handle that, we'll be in a good spot.
This team has a 3-1 record on the road. How have you guys been able to be so efficient when playing away?
Yeah, I think we do a good job of just making sure that we are, on, routine oriented and, staying up to it. And when we're on the road, we really are focused on task at hand, not, kind of going out or anything like that. So guys do a really good job of staying focused, and, hopefully we just keep the trend going.
You look at this defense in front. What can you say about your teammates, the way they've been able to really put the pressure on the quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, it's a fun group to be with, and they've done a great job, and everyone's, really kind of, works on their craft and really relishes their one-on-ones. And, when you have guys like that take a lot of pride in their work, it's, it's everything.
Well, appreciate your time, Zach, and best of luck on this road trip.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
In Week 8, they gave up an early touchdown and a late touchdown. I think you really can't do that, especially over these next 2 games.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And with Lamar Jackson and that offense, they're, I'm near the top of the pack if they're not at the top of the pack in red zone scoring. So when they get down there, they score frequently. So we got to make sure that we keep them out of the red zone. And if they do get down there, man, we got to make sure we tighten up and make sure we don't give up a lot of scores.
Clicking and clacking, shoulder pads hitting, right? Helmets, right? We got to get after it. That's what it's got to be about. It's got to be. This game is won in between the trenches. You talk about these next 2 games, these next 2 quarterbacks, they are elite and they can score quick. Rely on the guys that are all around you. As a football team, play team football, and that's how you neutralize them. But you really got to get the pads clicking and clacking.
Yep.
And in the fourth quarter, you practice here in altitude, right? So hopefully you could get them tired in the fourth.
Well, when we come back, Steve Atwater and Orlando will head to our video board to break down the jaw-dropping interception of cornerback Ja'Quan McMillian. Plus, we'll have all the numbers you need to know ahead of Week 9. Stick with us.
Bank better with Broncos checking from M&T Credit Union, the official banking partner of the Denver Broncos.
There's a lot of physicality on that side of the division, of course, but we play physical ball as well, too. So that sort of falls in our favor as well, too, because that's what we stand on. That's our standard, playing physical ball on both sides of the ball. So it's going to be a very physical ball game, and we're going to be prepared for it.
Welcome back to Broncos Weekend. That was cornerback Pat Surtain II talking about the need to be physical against the Ravens. Looking at the performance from Week 8, Ja'Quan McMillian's play was just that. Let's check in with Hall of Famer Steve Atwater and former Bronco and ESPN analyst Orlando Franklin. Guys.
Okay, thanks so much, Elisa. Big O, we got some great plays we're going to break down today of the slot cornerback, Ja'Quan McMillian. He's one of the unsung heroes of this defense, I think. He's number 29. He's going to be lined up right here on the slot. And again, he takes away most teams' number 3 receiver. As you'll see, he's lined up on the outside of this receiver, and the receiver thinks he has the inside to himself, but he doesn't. Ja'Quan McMillian is going to take that away from him and make it difficult for the quarterback, because the quarterback thinks he's going to be able to throw it there, but he actually isn't going to be able to throw it. Ja'Quan is able to cover him, and these other 2 receivers are covered, and the quarterback actually gets sacked by Jonathan Cooper, coverage sack. What did you see on that play, O?
I think exactly what you just said, right, Steve? A coverage sack. A great defensive line is always complemented by their back end. So shout out to Ja'Quan McMillian for recognizing where his help is in this situation, playing through the quarterback, right? Seeing the quarterback the whole entire time, getting his hands off on the wide receiver, rerouting that person. That's what messes up the timing. So it's all the little things. Doing the little things right on the back end now has your defensive line smiling and loving you. Jonathan Cooper, you got to take these guys out to dinner, because the back end is playing some really tight coverage, and that's why you get that sack right there.
Yep, got to win for the defense. Now, the second play, Ja'Quan McMillian is lined up on the right side, and guess what? It looks like everybody's coming. We got 8 guys on the line of scrimmage, but guess what? Not everybody's coming. We think they are, but they aren't. He's going to back out. He's going to be over the number 2 receiver. As you see, only 4 guys end up coming. He's going to end up kind of covering that number 2 receiver. I don't think the quarterback can see this receiver, because I don't know why he didn't throw it to him. He was open, and he ends up throwing it back over to the receiver where we have 3 or 4 guys over there. PS2 intercepts it, takes it back for a nice run. What did you see, O?
What did I see? Or what did Bryce Young see?
What did Bryce Young see?
What I think Bryce Young saw was ghosts, right? You put 8 guys at the line of scrimmage right there. You only rush 4. A lot of guys are dropping out. You know, this is why Vance Joseph has been excellent this year. Really making the quarterback take a second look and second guess themselves, right? You talk about why didn't he throw it right there? I don't think the quarterback he was even looking right there at that moment, right? He thought that 8 guys were coming after him. And tips and overthrows, got to get those. So you force him into making a crucial error and a big-time moment in the game and throwing the ball around a lot of orange jerseys. So that's another win for the defense and really confusing the quarterback.
Yeah, and this is one of the biggest plays of the game here. Ja'Quan McMillian on the slot receiver again, and he's going to be taking outside away. He got outside leverage on him. The receiver actually gets to the outside, but Ja'Quan McMillian fights his way back in there and makes a huge interception. One of the greatest plays I've ever seen from a slot cornerback. And as you can see, he's got a little bit beat there, but he made up for it. Didn't look back until the last minute. Spun around to the field side, which is a little bit awkward, I thought, but hey, beautiful, beautiful play.
Yeah. A compromising position originally, right? You know, you get in that red area. These wide receivers, they have multiple routes on the route tree. When you're sitting flat foot, you're going to get beat. If he's even, he's leaving. But I love Ja'Quan McMillian, how he recovers on this play.
Yes.
The fact that he knows that, hey, you know, the wide receiver is going to get to the end zone. And at the end of the play, it's him recognizing the hands are going up. I'm not going to put my hand up. I'm not going to get the PI. I don't know where this football's at. I'm going to try to turn around and try to make a play on the football. And he makes one heck of a play. I truly believe when this season is over this year, Steve, this is going to be a top 25 play in the National Football League. And we might as well just start calling it Ja'Quan McMillian.
The Ja'Quan McMillian play. There we go. Hey, beautiful play, beautiful defense. Great job, defense. Elisa, back to you.
Thanks, guys. The Broncos are headed back on the road for their Week 9 matchup versus the Baltimore Ravens. Denver coming off a win at home to improve to 5-3. This season, the Broncos are 3-1 when playing on the road, and this week are going against the AFC's top offense. We did a deep dive, and we found the numbers you need to know. Quarterback Bo Nix is coming off his best game of the season. The Broncos setting a season high in passing yards in Week 8 versus Carolina. This week, they face a secondary that gave up 333 yards to the Cleveland Browns in Week 8. Denver has scored 28-plus points in 3 of the last 4 games. The Broncos offense is looking to take advantage of the Ravens' pass defense, which ranked last in passing yards per game allowed this season. Since Week 3, Nix has been impressive and now leads all rookies with 12 offensive touchdowns in 2024. With his 5th win, he has the most QB wins by a rookie in Broncos team history. Running down the list in Week 8, Nix also set career highs with a 75.7 completion percentage, 284 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and a 124.2 passer rating. The Ravens defense has allowed the most plays of 20-plus yards in 2024. The Broncos defense is holding strong. They rank in the top 3 in scoring defense and total defense this season. The Broncos rank first in QB hits and second in sacks with 30. The New York Giants are the only team with more sacks than the Broncos. The Broncos sack leaders include Nick Bonito, who has notched his 6th sack in his 6th straight game, Jonathan Cooper with 5.5 sacks, and Zach Allen, who has 4. The Broncos and the Ravens are the only teams with multiple sacks in 8 games in 2024. Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson leads the NFL with 325 offensive yards per game and a 115 passer rating. Against the blitz, Jackson has had 6 touchdowns and 805 passing yards. The Broncos blitz on 43.4% of opponents' dropbacks this season, the highest in the NFL. Denver's defense this season has held quarterbacks to 5.9 yards per pass attempt, which is the lowest in the NFL. The Broncos also had 2 interceptions in Week 8. Looking at the running game, the Broncos defense ranks 5th in yards per carry allowed. The Ravens defense ranks 2nd. Ravens running back Derrick Henry became the first player ever with a touchdown in each of his first 8 games with a new team. Henry leads all running backs in carries, rushing yards, and rushing touchdowns. Broncos running back Javonte Williams leads Denver with 90 carries, 345 rushing yards, and 2 rushing touchdowns. With cornerback Pat Surtain II returning in Week 8, we could see him match up with Ravens wideout Zay Flowers. Flowers has had 3 games with 100-plus receiving yards in 2024. The Ravens also recently added Deontay Johnson via trade. The Ravens have the #1 total offense in 2024. Jumping to another weapon on the Broncos offense, wide receiver Courtland Sutton is coming off a big game in Week 8. He led the Broncos with 8 receptions for 100 receiving yards. The Broncos go into Week 9 having won 5 of their last 6 games. When we come back, Denver 7's Bradey King will have your fantasy focus for Week 9, and we'll reveal which players versus the Ravens will call game. Don't go anywhere. Broncos Weekend. We'll be right back.
Welcome back into Broncos Weekend. I'm Bradey King, and it is time for Fantasy Focus. With 8 weeks of the NFL season in the books, we've seen a lot of what QB1 Bo Nix can do. So let's talk about it. The rookie took advantage of the Week 8 matchup with the Carolina Panthers, scoring a season-high 29.7 fantasy points while showcasing his dual-threat abilities. Not only has Nix thrown 8 touchdowns and over 1,500 passing yards through 8 games, he has emerged as one of the top rushing quarterbacks with 29 carries for 148 yards and 2 TDs the past 4 weeks. This perfect mix of passing and rushing has put Bo Nix in the top 10 fantasy finish in 3 of his past 4 games. In total, he's scored 88.7 fantasy points over the past 4 weeks, which is the 3rd most among quarterbacks. Now, his teammates have told us all season that he doesn't act like a rookie, and Bo isn't playing like one either. He's rostered in roughly 36% of leagues on ESPN, and that number is climbing with his recent performances. Fantasy football experts argue that Nix is the best waiver wire option at quarterback because of his play and his upcoming opponents. In Week 9, the Broncos will face the Baltimore Ravens, who are giving up the 3rd most QB fantasy points per game. We caught up with Courtland Sutton after practice, and he shared how he's embracing the challenge of going up against the Ravens.
You know, we've been playing some pretty good games and putting some games together, and now we have an opportunity to, go in and face a team that everybody feels is going to be in the AFC Championship. So this is a great opportunity for us to go out and showcase what we know about our team, what we know about the work that we've been putting in, and it's just up on us.
Well, if there's one thing about Courtland Sutton, he's always up for the challenge, and I think this whole team is ready to really make a statement with trying to get this win in Week 9.
Yeah, and I was happy to see him step up. He wasn't upset about not getting many targets the last couple of games, and he bounced back like a champ. And I really like how Bo Nix made a concerted effort to make sure that he got the ball and make sure that their top receiver, hey, you got to be satisfied too a little bit.
I love the approach, right? A couple weeks ago, you get into a game, there's no targets, right? And it's easy to be bummed because you're supposed to be wide receiver #1 for this football team.
Yeah.
But then the following week, we see him doing everything, right? We see Sean Payton calling slip screens for him. He's going down the field. He's getting those yards after the catch. I think Courtland Sutton is a phenomenal
And he threw a
football.
pass.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Perfect passer rating, right?
Forgot
Perfect
about that
passer
one as
rating.
well. But I think that's that's how this football team gets better, by a guy like Courtland Sutton, and watching him do the little things right each and every day, even when things are not going his way or he's not seeing the targets.
Yeah, and I think it's also a good example for these young guys who are also trying to get their footing and really get the opportunity to call game. And that's going to lead us into our next segment, because it's my favorite part of the show. It's time for Call Game, and those that are new to the show, each week our amazing guests will pick a player that they think will play well against the upcoming matchup and call game. It's week 9, and the team is headed to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. So Orlando, I'm going to start with you. You called Nick Bonito last week. Who do you call game for this week?
I'm going to keep another 5, but this time I'm going to go with 5-5 because he's been live the last couple weeks. I got to go with Cody Barton, man. I think this young man has, like Bo Nix, he has found a way to develop each and every week. You know, you watch him against the Seattle game, and he's getting in certain packages, and honestly, it's not the best product that he's putting out there on the field. But within the last couple weeks, man, he's looked like he belongs at that position, and he looks like he's here to stay. He's a tackling machine. He's running sideline to sidelines, and the thing that I love about him most, a wise man once told me, effort requires no talent. And he's given a lot of effort out there. He's making plays based off of that. Not saying that his game is lacking or anything like that. I think that that's what took his game to the next level. So continue to give that effort, young man.
He's a spark on that defense.
Yes. Orlando, that's a great pick there. I really love Cody Barton's game as well. I'm going to take a page out of your book, your playbook. I'm going with Nick Bonito.
There you go.
Nick Bonito, he's been doing it 6 games in a row, 6 sacks. It's going to be number 7. And with the Baltimore Ravens, we know that Lamar Jackson, he's gonna scramble at some point. Nick Bonito is one of those guys that I think he could run with LJ. Nick Bonito, he's flexible, he's fast, he's quick, he bends great, and I think he's going to wreak some havoc in this game.
Oh, well, there you have it. Will Nick Bonito get lucky? Number 7. That sack is going to be all over our feed. So we're going to see on Sunday who calls game. But for now, for Denver 7's Bradey King, former Bronco and ESPN analyst Orlando Franklin, and Hall of Famer Steve Atwater, I am your host and team reporter Elisa Hernandez, and this is Broncos Weekend. Thanks for watching.